Hello everyone, it is me again, Penguin21, and today, here we are again, talking about the PlayStation Showcase. Now, I wanted to get this video out a little sooner, but I promised a Harmon Smith video, so that Harmon Smith video is probably going to come out before this. If it doesn't, this video kind of got pushed forward in front of it, but the Harmon Smith video will come out, hopefully, at some point. So, yeah. Also, again, I uploaded 3 videos last week, so I'm going to take a break and do just 2 videos this week, unless something else comes about. But I wanted to talk about that PlayStation Showcase again, because in all honesty, that PlayStation Showcase generated a lot of salt when it originally came out, and I wanted to make a couple videos on it, but I'll get back into some of the Starfield salt eventually. But as of right now, basically the PlayStation fanboys, I'll probably flash up some of the more spicier salt takes that I've seen recently come out on the screen during this intro, just so you can read through it, pause if you really care. Overall, the PlayStation fanboys cannot keep Starfield or Xbox out of their fucking mouth, even when they have a fairly okay but still limp dick response to the Starfield thing, where they didn't show anything new. They just were reaffirming some of the games that were there because they want to keep that hype cycle train rolling down the tracks, and it still sucks. I mean, if this was their first State of Play this year and they just saved everything for this, then yeah, I could assume that there's a reason why, but the fact that most of these games were kind of games that we've already heard about, or games that most people probably won't really care about, I mean, the only thing that I'm personally excited for is, again, Foam Stars, as I've continued to tout that Foam Stars is actually pretty decent, given what it is. 100%, I think this should also be available on the PC with crossplay, because goddamn, that would be fun. But overall, again, lukewarm takes all around. But we get into the actual official salt with Unleashed, touting that there was 2 million within 13 hours of the actual trailer. And I'm gonna be honest, Chief, yes, obviously this game was going to get pretty decent views on YouTube. One, because again, they put Marvel's Spider-Man 2 in the very first part of that title. And yeah, I know that that's the actual thing in the game, but you have to understand, Spider-Man was not made by Sony. Like, that's the thing. Spider-Man was not made by Sony. Sony just so happened to purchase, I think, like, the rights to the video games, or the rights to a lot of Spider-Man content. And they made it exclusive to PlayStation because they knew that it would do this. They knew that it would make them more money. And they bought a fictional character. And no one seems to ever really bring this up or talk about it in the context of this. And it's still stupid. Oh, well, they were the ones that are doing this good Spider-Man well. It's like, okay, cool. What about all the other studios and all the other times it wasn't on PlayStation? Like, it's only been recent that Spider-Man has been exclusive to PlayStation. There have been a lot of games that were actually multi-platform. Some of them even on the Nintendo and stuff like that, from what I remember. Even on Atari. Like, seriously, there was a Spider-Man game on the Atari 2600 system. What the fuck? That's how old Spider-Man in this context is, you dickbags. But moving on. Next up, we have the more you dig, the more you see some of the bad reviews for the PlayStation 5 versus Xbox on Metacritic. And then he gives out the apparently that it would be a 9.5. Again, this really should be in the troll portion of the video, but I'm going to stick it up in the front here because that's what it is in the actual file that I have here. So, yeah, again, goes to show you how unbiased certain media sources are. I would think this is more of a personal one, but again, this person is a completely biased piece of shit. So, yeah, we can just continuously move on from here. Next up, we have someone retweeting that the fast travel is seamless and looks fantastic. I mean, I would tend to kind of agree, but there is a comparison that was made to GTA, which, quote-unquote, wasn't seamless, even though it kind of was. I mean, yeah, there were loading screens and stuff, but it was, you could switch characters pretty seamlessly in that game. And you still can't, and again, that's not to say that you can't anymore. You still can, and you still do in a lot of contexts. Like, you can switch to even multiplayer rather seamlessly. And I don't get what the heck problem is there. I mean, it would be even more seamless because you get to go into the character and the character will be doing whatever the fuck that they're doing. So, I don't know. Then Bethesda, and it says that Bethesda would have 20 seconds of loading screens. And then there was another tweet by someone saying that Spider-Man 2 was made by Bethesda. I'm gonna be honest, Chief. We can play whataboutisms all damn day. At the end of the day, who the fuck cares if there's loading screens or not? Who the fuck cares? Who cares? Okay, I mean, it might pull some people out of the experience, but you're comparing this to a Bethesda game, for one, saying that this game is better because it's not Bethesda. Okay? Have you not played any of Bethesda's older games, you dick nozzles? Have you not seen the other stuff that they put out? Because that's well within par. I set my expectations according to on par, whether or not there is a particular person that does X, Y, and Z. It's a pattern of behavior, which is why I talk about these PlayStation guys so much and so frequently. Next up, we have someone saying, I'm so glad there isn't a Series S over here, crying at the Spider-Man 2 trailer. Congratulations. I mean, again, I'm not sure if you're a pony. I don't care if you're a pony. I'm putting you in here just because, cool. Just be excited for the game. Leave Xbox out of it. What the fuck is your problem? Next up, we have Ain't No Way. Some people are replying and are in their replies saying this mechanic was stolen from GTA 5. It kind of was. Have we played the same game? It's definitely not that seamless in GTA Lamau. I can't tell whether or not this is the person trolling, and that scares me. So we're going to move on. Next up, we have multiple performance options, ray tracing, haptic feedback, instant loading. It's good to see a first-party game that actually includes current-gen tech in their games instead of making excuses. Sunglasses emoji. I don't even know if I need to justify this with a response, because while all of that is pretty cool and all that's pretty awesome, BattleBit is, in my opinion, really good, despite not having any of those features. Like, it really honestly is. And, I mean, yeah, it reached about, like, 80,000 and didn't even crack 100,000 people doing stuff. It's made in Unity, it's a block game, and it has a lot of really good stuff that I love. Like, you can have your own opinions, and you can not have any of these. These aren't game-breaking or an interesting mechanics about that. I mean, you can ray trace fucking Minecraft. You can ray trace Minecraft. Jesus Christ. I don't care about graphics in games anymore. I really don't. There was a meme that was floating around of like, I would like games with worse graphics and stuff. It's like, yes, I would. I don't care for graphics anymore. Personally, I don't care for graphics anymore. People talking about graphics, if you have to tout the graphics of a game, instead of like the gameplay mechanics and everything else that is in the game, other than that, there is a problem with you. There is a problem with the game. That should be a massive red flag. You can make the game look as realistic and cool as possible, but if the gameplay isn't fun for someone, I'm going to put that game down and never touch it again. Period. That's just my personal opinion. But moving on, we have, of course, J-Dub. Be sure to make sure you know about J-Dub. He's going to be appearing a lot in this video. Can you imagine Wolverine gonna look like on PS5 Pro? Spider-Man 2 is looking this good with ray trace, 60 FPS, 120 blah blah blah. I don't care. To use Mr. Amazing Lucas's stuff against you, like his own words against you. They're selling you future games that are coming out in the future, the future of the title. That's why this shit exists. None of these games are coming out right now, and none of these games you don't even know if they're good or not. I mean, the only thing really is the fact that some of these games have dates now. Fantastic. Who the fuck cares? Like, just be happy for your games, and don't use this as anything more than just being hype for your own games. And, like, you're like, oh, you're complaining about that. Well, J-Dub comes back with a thing, then tweeting about, in the same day, tweeting about, oh, how Starfield got their Metacritic score down this far because they were basically very picky and choosy about the people who inevitably were going to review bomb and make the game seem worse than it was, and weren't going to be kind of more biased to them. I mean, they did have some people who were very middling, and even with the people there, they still gave it like 6 and 7s out of 10s. So yeah, I'm so done with J-Dub. I don't give a shit anymore. I don't give anything about that. Next up, we've got Insomniac achieved 4K 60 FPS ray tracing with the PS5 with Spider-Man 2. The studio continues to impress, and I'm gonna be honest, sure. If you can get 4K 60 on the fucking PS5 in this day and age, congratulations. You achieved it. You got it good. But touting that as a good thing, I mean, 4K, I would love to see the actual performance of this game when it comes out. Like, I don't have any faith that they're not completely and utterly just absolutely, you know, making sure that the game itself isn't overhyped to shit. So, whatever. Spider-Man 2 is in a DLC game. They copy and pasted the same map. Now, this one I will actually defend and say, if you think that this is a DLC game, sure, cool, but I don't think that it is. If they add enough to it. But they're copying and pasting the same map. Have you never heard of Saints Row? Have you never heard of fucking most games out there? Have you ever heard of the fact that this is New York fucking City? Like, if you're saying that this is a DLC game because they reuse the same map, go eat a bag of dicks. Like, this is the one point that I will say I agree with in this context. Eat a bag of dicks. Because this is New York fucking City. Obviously, they're going to reuse the same map, because obviously, this is modern-day New York. Next up, we have King Thrash with, this is a PlayStation versus Xbox, where he says no loading screens versus 30-second loading screens. I don't want to give this man any more credit, because this man just keeps volcanoing over and over and over again. I will never let him live that down. Never. Never. He doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve any more attention. Moving on. Seen countless dummies compare Spider-Man's 2 fast travel, not character switching, clip to GTA 5, presumably to downplay, want to remind folks of GTA 5's fast travel, lol, character switching is not fast travel as you don't choose destination, still obvious difference. It's not that big of a difference, to be honest. The only big difference is the fact that you can seamlessly switch between the characters, Miles and Peter, and that's really it. I mean, again, you can seamlessly transition between the two characters in Grand Theft Auto. And you can also, again, you know, transition and fast travel in GTA as well. And that's pretty seamless. You choose a place on the map, you go down into the actual thing. It might take a little bit to load up, but overall, I mean, there is a clear similarity here. Like, there is a clear similarity. There is only one or two differences between the two, and that's most gaming mechanics nowadays. People don't realize that. Again, there's a reason why I made a video on someone comparing and saying that BattleBit Remastered is not the same as Battlefield, and how they are incomparable because one is a milsim shooter, whereas one is a more arcadey shooter, even though the other one also has milsim elements and also has a lot of the same mechanics and things like that. Overall, you can compare two different things that are very similar but have 1 to 2 differences. Like, that's literally what I've been doing on this channel for a fucking, like, 2 to 3 years at this point. A long time. If you go back to some of my more original videos, I used to compare similar operators in the same fucking game that had the same thing for Rainbow Six. Like, I literally did that. Obviously, you can compare and contrast anything. It's called critique. Next up, we got MBG again with the whole different amount of 4K, of a bunch of different stuff, all with ray tracing and fidelity and performance and stuff like that. Again, I have stopped caring. I don't give a shit anymore about anything having to do with graphics. I see graphics and my mind goes immediately to cool, but what's the style like? What's the stuff here? What's the technology that they're using and stuff like that? And yeah, you could say that all of that's really cool, but 4K, I don't care because it's marketing speak coming from people. I want to see actual real-world numbers that are not hand-picked from fucking Sony at this point, because I don't trust them. I don't trust them. And I think that a lot of people should lose trust in Sony, especially after this state of play, because they're showing a lot of stuff that they've already shown off. State of play and these sorts of actual events used to mean something. And that's the biggest problem here, is that they used to mean something. You don't have J-Dub here with a who did it better, just so you guys can get some of that. But these states of plays and stuff, they used to mean something. They used to assimilate and create something more exciting for it. And there used to be no doubts of newer games and things like that. It's not just rehyping and rehashing the same old games. It really shouldn't be about that. It should be when you have good new first-party stuff, or you have good things to show, you should show them off in these things. It shouldn't just be like an updated thing. I mean, Nintendo does it pretty okay with Nintendo Directs, and then they have Nintendo Mini Directs where they show off little things to do that to build hype. But overall, this could have just been a blog post, or it could have been something else, just to affirm that these things are coming out. At least in my personal opinion, and a lot of people agree as well, where they said like, oh, it wasn't that good. Look, if you're hyped for these games, I'm happy for you. But using this 30 minutes of stuff that we've seen for the most part, with the only real new game that we actually haven't seen being Baby Steps, honestly, truly, conceivably, this was mid. Like, it really was. I don't know how else to say it to people. It was mid. It was okay. I skipped most of it because I didn't feel like I needed to see everything. And I didn't. Like, it was 30 minutes. 30 minutes that people sat there. And people were hyped as shit. Cool. Fantastic. You really shouldn't be touting it as a 10 out of 10. Because you got to see games have dates. Games that we already knew were coming out have dates and stuff. If that was a 10 out of 10, then that means that the fucking Xbox One was a 20 out of 10. Because they actually showed new games and new first-party stuff, and actually had stuff to show off. And they haven't needed to show anything else off the rest of the year. Whereas Sony has had 3 states of plays up to this point, all of them getting decreasingly worse in quality. Nintendo has had a bunch, but Nintendo does Nintendo stuff, so I can give them a little bit of a pass, but that doesn't necessarily mean that their stuff wasn't as good. Anyways, I think I'm about done with this video. I wanted to look at some more tweets and stuff, but overall, the Red Dragon was going to do some Red Dragon things. I will probably show some of his tweets in this long rant at the end here. And there were some also troll posts, but I don't really want to get into that, because we are already into 20 minutes. Jesus Christ, I talk about this way too much. But overall, my name is GamePenguin21. If you like what it is that I do and want to support me in any way, shape, or form, links to stuff down in the description below, Patreon, as well as Gumroad, and even Bandcamp and stuff. F-Sound has been out for a couple of weeks now, and the next track coming out shall be coming out fairly soon, being released both on this channel as well as the Patreon and a few other locations. I'll probably release it earlier on the Patreon if you really want to, but it will be released on Bandcamp. So, in any case, if you really want to support me in that way, shape, or form, go and do that very simply and very easily. Overall, my name is GamePenguin21. Thank you so much for watching this video. The salt just keeps flowing. And a piece off